Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our virtual Mishnah Berurah here. We are holding today Mishnah Berurah Chelik Hey. We're holding on Pei Amid Beis. We're continuing Hilchas Pesach. We're in Siman Taf Ayin Beis, and we begin today with Siv Zayin. So that's on Pei Amid Beis. It's 4 lines down in my print, in the middle of the line. Siv Zayin. Says the Mechaber. We're going to continue right now speaking about the halachas of Haseba, the requirement to perform some of the mitzvahs by the Seder while you're leaning, while you're reclining on the left side. So now the Mechaber says, Kol mi shetzarech Haseba, whoever is required to perform Haseba. If you remember yesterday, we mentioned there are individuals that are not required to perform Haseba. For instance, a Talmud, a student who's having the Seder together with his Rebbe at his Rebbe's table, does not perform Haseba unless he has specific permission from his Rebbe to perform Haseba. Now the Mechaber says, Kol mi shetzarech Haseba, anybody who is required to perform Haseba, im achal oishasa b'loi Haseba, if he ate, let's say, the matzah shel mitzvah or the afikomen without Haseba, oishasa, or he drank, so let's say he drank the dalit kosos without Haseba, lo yotza. The Mechaber says he did not fulfill the mitzvah. V'tzarich lachzar lecha v'lishtais b'Haseba. And the Mechaber says he would be required to eat the matzah over again, to drink the kos over again, in order to fulfill the mitzvah properly. He would have to repeat the performance of the mitzvah and do it this time b'Haseba. That's the opinion of the Mechaber. However, right away we see the Ramah. The Ramah says, Haga, the Yeshayimrim, there are those that say, that nowadays, when it's really not the derech, it's not the practice, even of wealthy people, chashuva people, who are eating in a luxurious manner, it's really not the derech, it's not the custom to eat b'haseba, to eat while reclining. Kedayu Ravya lismay chalav, we could rely on the opinion of the Ravya that we mentioned yesterday, who holds that nowadays we don't need haseba at all. The Ravya says that nowadays, where it's not the practice to eat b'haseba, so the requirement of haseba has fallen away. The whole requirement of haseba is in order to exhibit luxury, to exhibit cherus, freedom. But nowadays, since even people who are eating in a luxurious manner do not recline, the Ravya says there really is no requirement of haseba. Therefore, the Ramah says, Kedayu Ravya, the Ravya is at least worthy enough, lismay that we could rely on his opinion, shebediyeved yotza b'loi haseba, that post facto, if somebody ate the matzah or drank the kos without haseba, so we'll rely on the Ravya and say, according to the Ravya, we don't require haseba at all. So you did it without haseba, we're not going to make you repeat the performance of the mitzvah. V'nira li, so that the Ramah said is a yesh imrim. He brought that down from the Aguda. Now the Ramah states his opinion. V'nira li, the Ramah says, it seems to me, im loy shasa kos shlishi ay revi'i b'haseba, if you did not drink the third kos or the fourth kos of the dalit kosos with haseba, ein lachzar v'lishtais b'haseba. Those kosos you should not repeat. So if you drank the third or the fourth kos without haseba, do not repeat the mitzvah. Don't drink a kos over again with haseba. Why? The yesh by chashash, because by those two kosos there's a new concern. Shenira kemoisef al hakosos. If you drank the, let's say, the fourth kos without haseba, so now you're going to go ahead and say, "Oh, I forgot to do haseba. I'll drink another kos by haseba." Well, now it looks like you drank 5 kosos tonight. Now it looks like you're adding on. You don't drink 4 kosos, you drink 5 kosos. That's not the halacha. The halacha is dalit kosos. We don't add on things on our own, and that's what it looks like you're doing. Aval b'shnei kosos rishonos, but if you neglected to drink either the first of the dalit kosos, the kos of kiddush, or the second one of the dalit kosos, if you neglected to do haseba when you drank one of those kosos, yachzar v'yishteh b'loi bracha, then you should drink again without making a bracha. Now, let's stop over here for a moment, and let's go into the Mishnah Berurah. We just read a whole lot over here. Let's go down to the Mishnah Berurah, and let's see what the Mishnah Berurah has to say about this. So So we go to the Mishnah Berurah, Eis Katan Chaf. The Mishnah Berurah says, Venirali. So the Mishnah Berurah picks up Siv Zayin at the opinion of the Ramah. So before we dive into the Mishnah Berurah, let's just remind ourselves. The Mechaber's statement was, if you're required to do a Seba, if you performed one of the mitzvahs, if you ate the matzah, or you drank the kosos without Haseba, the opinion of the Mechaber was, you have to eat and drink over again because you did not fulfill the mitzvah. The Ramah first brought down a Yesh Omrim, and that Yesh Omrim was an opinion that says, since we have a Ravya that says that Haseba is not required nowadays at all because it's not the practice, so post facto, if you did the mitzvah without Haseba, we could rely on the Ravya and not repeat the mitzvah. So we have the Mechaber who says you must repeat the mitzvah. We have the Yesh Omrim that says rely on the Ravya and you do not have to repeat the mitzvah. And now we have the opinion of the Ramah himself who cuts it in the middle. The Ramah says it depends what mitzvah we're speaking about. So first, the Ramah addresses the kosos. We have 4 kosos. Says the Ramah, if you neglected to perform Haseba by one of the first 2 kosos, then the Ramah says you should drink a kos over again, but without a bracha. If you neglected to perform Haseba by one of the last 2 kosos, by the 3rd or the 4th, then you should not drink the kos over again, because by those kosos, we have a concern that if you'll drink another kos, it looks like you're being meisif al ha-kosos. It looks like you're adding on to the 4 kosos, and we don't want that. So then rely on the Ravya and do not drink another kos. Now let's take a look at the Mishnah Berurah, Eis Katan Chaf. V'nira li im loy shasa. The Ramah said it seems to him, if you didn't drink the 3rd or the 4th kos b'haseba, then you should drink another kos without a bracha. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Ritzaynoi loymar. What the Ramah wants to say over here is, Debein kosos harishonos, between the first kos or the second kos, the mutter lishtos kama deboy, when the halacha is you're allowed to drink as much as you want. Between the first kos and the second kos, you want to drink a cup of wine, you're allowed to. Siman Taf Ayin Gimel Siv Gimel, like we're going to say later on in Taf Ayin Gimel Siv Gimel. Because when you drink between the first kos and the second kos, it doesn't look like you're being meisif al ha-kosos, and we'll explain why. So if you drank the first kos without haseba, drink another kos over again without a bracha. We're going in this opinion of the Ramah right now. The Mishnah Berurah is going to say not that way, Lamaisa, but you drank the first kos without haseba. So the Ramah says drink another kos between the first kos and the second kos, because the halakha over there is that you're allowed to drink. Because you're allowed to drink another cup of wine then. So fine. So if you weren't yotze the mitzvah of the first kos, the kos of Kiddush, because you drank it without haseba, so now you'll drink another kos with haseba, and you'll be yotze the mitzvah. If you really were mekayim the mitzvah properly, because haseba is really not a requirement like the Ravya, so okay, so then the kos that you drank now is a kos shel reshus. It's an optional kos, and you're allowed to drink an optional kos between the first kos and the second kos. Masha ain't came, or between the second kos and the third kos. Between the second kos and the third kos, you're also allowed to drink wine. The Suda, Shulchan Aruch, takes place between the third kos and the 4th kos. So between the second kos and the third kos. So between the second kos and the third kos, you're also allowed to drink extra kosos. So if you didn't drink the second kos with haseba, so drink another kos. What's the problem? If you needed it to be mekayim the mitzvah, fine, you have it. If you didn't need it to be mekayim the mitzvah, so it was optional, and you're allowed to drink an optional kos then. Masha ain't came. However, contrast that to im shachach lahaseh b'kosos achronos. Let's say you forgot to do haseba by the 3rd kos or the 4th kos. Ein lachsar v'lishtos. Then you should not drink another kos. Shaharei shtias rishus aser sham, because between the 3rd kos and the 4th kos, or after, allowed to drink another cup of wine. Mipnei shenira kemoisif al ha-kosos. Because we're going to say that whenever you drink another kos, then it looks like you're adding on to the kosos. Now, we still have not explained why it is that if you drink an extra kais between the first kais and the second kais, or between the second kais and the third kais, it doesn't look like you're meisif al ha-kaisais, and therefore it's okay. But if you drink an extra kais of wine between the third and the fourth, or after the fourth, it does look like you're being meisif al ha-kaisais, and that's not okay. We didn't explain why that is yet, and we will. Bear with me. But right now, what we're saying is, since you're not allowed to drink a kais between the first, since you are allowed to drink a kais between the first kais and the second kais, or between the second kais and the third kais, so fine. So if you didn't drink one of those kaises ba'aseh, but drink an extra kais. Since you're not allowed to drink an extra kais between the third kais and the fourth kais, or after the fourth kais, so then if you drank the third kais or the fourth kais without haseba, do not drink another kais, because you're not allowed to drink another kais then. Since we have the Ravya who holds that haseba is not a requirement at all, rely on the Ravya in the case of the third kais and the fourth kais, and don't get yourself in trouble to drink another kais and look like you're being meisif al ha-kaises. What did the Ramah say? The Ramah said, if you drank the first kais or the second kais without haseba, so drink another kais, because you're allowed to drink another kais then, but drink it without a bracha. Don't make another bayre priyagafen. So you made kiddush, you drank the first kais, and now you realized you drank it without haseba. All right, drink another kais, but don't make another bayre priyagafen. You drank the second kais, you realized you did it without haseba. Drink another kais, but again, no hagafen. Don't make another bracha. Explains the Chavetz Chaim. Kosav Magen Avram. First, you should know the Magen Avram says the kol zeh leikar hadin. This all goes according to the strict halacha. The rishus biyadai lishtais kama kosos. That if you want, you could drink as many kosos as you want between the first kais and the second kais, and between the second kais and the third kais. However, leminagenu, according to our custom, she'ein shaisin shum kais. That we do not drink extra kosos during those time periods. Oh, our minig is that we do not drink extra kosos between the first kais and the second kais for sure. In Tafayin Gimel Siv Gimel, the Mechaber says that Mikal Makam Roy Lizar Lishtais Ben Rishon Lisheni Im Loilet Tzarech Gadol. We don't drink any extra kosos of wine between the first kais and the second kais. And the reason the Mechaber says over there is Kedei Shelo Yishtaker V'Yimona Milaseis HaSeder Kriyas HaGadol. We don't want you to drink an extra kais of yayin between the first kais and the second kais, because you might get a little high, you might get a little tipsy or a little tired, and now suddenly you're going to fall asleep and you're not going to be Mekayim the mitzvah salayla. So our minig, says the Magen Avram, is we don't drink any extra kosos between the first kais and the second kais. So, says the Magen Avram, therefore, leminagenu she'ein shaisin shum kais afilu ben kaisos rishonos, according to us, that we don't drink any extra kosos of yayin between the first kais and the second kais. Uchidimavur b'simen tafayin gimel siv gimel. Now, if you want to go ahead and drink a kais of yayin between the first kais and the second kais, you're changing your mind. Your das when you made kiddush was that you're going to drink one kais of yayin for kiddush, and that's it. And now you're not drinking another kais until the second kais. So your hagafen only went on the kais shel kiddush. Now you realize that you didn't do haseba, and now you want to drink an extra kais, now you got to make a bracha. That hagafen didn't go on this extra kais that you want to drink. See, the Ramah was going al pi ikar hadin. The Ramah was going according to the strict halacha. According to the strict halacha, you're allowed to drink an extra kais between the first kais and the second kais. So since you're allowed to, when you made the hagafen in kiddush, you had stam das. The assumption is that you had in your mind, whatever kaisos I'm going to drink before the first kais and the second kais should be covered by the hagafen of kiddush. But our minig is that we do not drink any extra kaisos between the first kais and the second kais. So the hagafen that you made did not go on this extra kais. Now you want to drink an extra kais because you didn't drink the kais shel kiddush b'haseba. You got to make a bracha. Ooh, if you got to make a bracha, now we're creating a problem. Havalei kinimlach. And now it's like you changed your mind and you want to drink another kais. V'im shaisa tzarich levarich. And if you're going to drink, you got to make a bracha. V'hoisevayid, and the Magen Avraham adds on, according to this, afilu bein rishon l'sheni ein kedai sheyachzer v'yishte. Because of this, says the Magen Avraham, even we should not drink another kais to make up for the fact that we didn't drink the first kais b'aseba. Why? The kevan shemevarich alav, because since you got to make a bracha on it, nireh kemoisef oid kais ala kaisos. Now it looks like you are being moisef kais ala kaisos. So you see, I know this is a little bit complex, so I want to try to encapsulate it for you. The Ramah said, if you didn't drink the first kais b'haseba, so now drink another kais between the first and the second b'haseba to make up for it, and don't make a bracha. Now, why did the Ramah say don't make a bracha? The Ramah said don't make a bracha because the assumption was that the hagafen of kiddush is going to cover this extra kais that you're going to drink now. Why? Because the halacha is that really you're allowed to drink another kais now. So the hagafen covered it. So there's no problem of it looking like you're being moisef al hakaisos, because each one of the daled kaisos you make a bracha. And now this kais, you're not making a bracha. So it's not nireh kemoisef al hakaisos. So the Ramah said you have the best of all worlds. You don't have the problem of nireh kemoisef al hakaisos because you're not making a bracha. You're allowed to drink it. Go ahead and drink it. Do it b'aseba. So if you need aseba, you got aseba. You have no problem. Says the Magen Avraham, no, because our minig is not like the strict halacha. Our minig is that we do not drink any extra kaisos between the first kais and the second kais because we're afraid you might get sleepy and you might not be mekayim the mitzvah. So your hagafen of kiddush did not cover any optional kaisos. Now you didn't drink the first kais b'aseba. You want to drink another kais? You got to make a bracha. It wasn't covered by your original hagafen. Oh, you're going to make a bracha? Now you're sitting there by the Seder, you're holding a kais, you're making a bari pri hagafen. It looks like it's another kais. Now if it's another kais, by the end of the night, you have 5 kaisos. 5 kaisos, nireh kemoisef al hakaisos. You can't do that. So says the Magen Avraham, no, don't drink another optional kais b'haseba. That's what the Magen Avraham says. So the Magen Avraham says, do not drink another kais. The Yismaich al das Avia Ezri, and instead rely on the Ravya, who's the Avia Ezri, the same way we do by the third kais and the fourth kais. Umiu, however, if you neglected to perform haseba by the second kais, then you could drink another optional kais b'haseba without a hagafen. Because over there we don't have this problem that looked like you changed your mind. Because between the second kais and the third kais you have shulchan aruch, and in shulchan aruch you're allowed to drink as much wine as you want. And what's it based on? Why could you drink wine in the middle of shulchan aruch and not make a bracha? Because it's covered by the bracha on the second kais. That's what it's covered by. Ask yourself, how many of you ever wondered this? You drink wine in the middle of the Suda by the Seder. What hagafen is it covered by? It's not covered by washing. Berachas hamayitzi doesn't cover you for hagafen, doesn't cover you for wine. On Shabbos, we make kiddush, we make hagafen, we drink wine during the Shabbos Suda based on the hagafen of kiddush. Over here, during Shulchan Aruch, during your Suda by the Seder, the wine that you drink is covered by the hagafen of the second kais. So the Magen Avram's problem doesn't exist by the second kais. The Seif al birkas kais sheni, because the optional kais that you'll drink b'haseba to make up for your lack of haseba on the second kais will be covered by the hagafen that you made on the second kais, the same way all of your yayin by Shulchan Aruch is covered by your hagafen on the second kais. V'nachai. So now the Chavetz Chaim comes up with an interesting chap. Says the Chavetz Chaim, the Nachain, what would be proper is shekaidem shemevarech al kais rishon, before you make the hagafen of kiddush, you should have in mind that if you want to drink yayin between the first kais and the second kais, it should be covered by the hagafen of Kiddush. And now if you do get messed up and you neglect to perform haseba by the first kais, you'll be able to add on an optional kais without a bracha, so it won't look like you're being meisef on a brachas, and you will be able to be mekayim haseba. Of course, the best thing is just make sure you have in mind to drink the kais b'haseba. I always announce by the Seder before we make Kiddush. Everyone should have in mind that the kais that we're going to drink by Kiddush, we're being mekayim the mitzvah of Kiddush, and we're also being mekayim the mitzvah of the first of the four kaisos, and we should make sure to drink it b'haseba. So it's important. The truth is, people should have in mind, whoever's leading the Seder should have in mind to announce these things and instruct the people at the table that they should be mekayim the mitzvahs properly. They should have the right kavanas, they should have the right things in mind, and they should pay attention, and they should do them in the right way. But just to reiterate, the halacha l'maisa psak of the Mishnah Berurah over here is, when you make Kiddush, have in mind that the hagafen goes on any optional kosos that you want to drink before the first kais, between the first kais and the second kais. If you did that, then if you neglected to drink the first kais b'haseba, you could drink an extra kais without a bracha between the first kais and the second kais. Do it b'haseba to make up for your lack of haseba. If you neglected to drink the second kais b'haseba, since the hagafen on the second kais covers any yayin that you drink between the second kais and benching, so fine. Again, you could drink an optional kais, and you could do it by haseba to make up for haseba. The third kais and the fourth kais, then we're going to go with the Ramah, and we're going to say that the third kais or the fourth kais, you don't repeat, because if you repeat the third kais or the fourth kais, it's nireh k'maisef al hakaisos. The reason why it's nireh k'maisef al hakaisos by the third kais or the fourth kais is because we're going to see you're not allowed to drink any optional yayin between the third kais and the fourth kais, or after the fourth kais. So if you drink, you got to make a bracha. You make a bracha, it looks like you're being meisef ala kaisos. So if you drank the third kais or the fourth kais without a seba, you do not repeat them. And instead, we rely on the Rav Yah, who holds that there is no requirement of haseba at all, because it's not the derech nowadays, even of luxurious people, it's not the derech to eat b'haseba. I know that this is a little complex, and I'm kind of running through it fast, but the beauty of this is that you could always stop the tape and go back and listen to it again. I'm trying to squeeze a lot of information in a short time. I see we're already at 22 minutes, and I still want to cover a lot of ground. Okay, now we go back up into the Shulchan Aruch. By me, it's on the last line of Pei Amid Beis, by the Ois Katan Chaf Beis for the Mishnah Berurah. So far, the Ramah covered the halacha of the kosos, if you neglected to drink the kosos with haseba. Now the Ramah says, V'chein ba'achilas matzah. So too by achilas matzah. Also, if you neglected to eat the matzah b'haseba, it's the opinion of the Ramah that you have to go ahead and you have to eat that matzah over again. Not that we should rely on the Rav Yah. Instead, we should eat the matzah over again, says the Mishnah Berurah in Ois Katan Chaf Beis, on the bottom line in the Mishnah Berurah, V'chein ba'achilas matzah, hainu sheyachzor v'yoichal kazayis matzah. You should eat the kazayis of matzah over again. U'baloi bracha. Don't make another bracha asher kedishanu b'mitzvayis of etzivanu al achilas matzah. Certainly, you're not going to make another hamaitzi lechem in the aretz. One hamaitzi you made covers any matzah that you're going to eat. So you're not going to make another hamaitzi, but you're also not going to make another asher kedishanu b'mitzvayis of etzivanu al achilas matzah. U'baloi bracha. Mihu ba'afi kaiman. However, the Mishnah Berurah says, how about if you ate the afi kaiman without haseba? Then the Mishnah Berurah says, Mihu ba'afi kaiman im shachach la'achlai b'haseba. If you neglected to eat the afi kaiman b'haseba, lo yasar v'yachlenu. You should not eat another afi kaiman. Taha asar lechal shnei pa'amim afi kaiman, because you're not allowed to eat the afi kaiman twice. Now that's a very, very interesting statement of the Chavetz Chaim's over here. And again, I sit there, I tremble whenever I look askance in a way at something that the Chavetz Chaim wrote. I look at the picture of the Chavetz Chaim. You can't see it, but I have a picture of the Chavetz Chaim up here on my wall that I look at, as I'm preparing share on Mishnah Berurah, as I'm saying share on Mishnah Berurah, I have the Chavetz Chaim looking at me, and he has a real scary look, let me tell you. So I look at that face and I tremble a little bit. But the words of the Chavetz Chaim over here are, you should not eat the afikomen again. Why? Because it's aser lechol shnei pa'amim afikomen. It's forbidden to eat the afikomen twice. What exactly does that mean? That it's forbidden to eat the afikomen twice. Says, take a look in the Dirshu in footnote number 28. Very nice footnote here that puts it very succinctly. He says over here, Va'af shelikamon, even though further on in Siman Taf Ayin Zayin and Sif Katan Dalet, we're going to see it's written, Kosav, the Mechaber writes, Sharak, is it the Mechaber or is it the Ramah? It might be the Ramah. Taf Ayin Zayin, don't want to quote the wrong person. Taf Ayin Zayin, Sif Katan Dalet. Taf Ayin Zayin, Sif Katan Dalet. Taf Ayin Zayin, Sif Katan Dalet. No, he's referring to him himself. It's the Mishnah Berurah in Ois Katan Dalet. He says in the Halacha Tayin Zayin in the Mechaber Sif Aleph, it's talking about the afikomen, and the Mechaber says v'yochlanu b'haseba, you should eat the afikomen with haseba, v'lo yivarech alav, you do not make an independent bracha on the afikomen. There's no bracha on the mitzvah of afikomen. And Mishnah Berurah in Ois Katan Dalet says you should eat it b'haseba, u'b'diavad im shachach v'acholoi b'lo haseba. If post facto you realize that you forgot to make haseba, so the Mishnah Berurah over there in Taf Ayin Zayin says, Ein tzarich lachzor v'lechel, you don't have to repeat and eat the afikomen over again, im kasha alav ha'achila, if it would be difficult for you. So it's very clear in Taf Ayin Zayin that the Mishnah Berurah holds, if you ate the afikomen without haseba, if you can, you should eat it over again. If it's very difficult for you, by the end of the Seder night, you ate all that matzah and all of that maror, and you had a suda, and now you got to eat another kazayis matzah. If it's difficult for you, so b'diavad, the Mishnah Berurah says don't eat it. Over here, the Chavetz Chaim says, you ate the afikomen without haseba, don't eat it over again. Why? The ha'oser lechol shtei pamim afikomen. Because it's prohibited. You're not allowed to eat the afikomen twice. What's going on? Over here he says it's prohibited. Over there he says you should eat it over again if you can. If you can't, you don't have to. What's going on? So the Dirshu footnote 28 says, the Haisif b'Sharet Tzion Sham, if you look at the Sharet Tzion in Taf Ayin Zayin, it says Shaladas Rashi v'Rashbam. According to Rashi and the Rashbam, She'ikr mitzvahs achilas matzah hi ba'achilas afikomen. They actually hold that afikomen is really when you mekayim the mitzvah of achilas matzah. V'adai shetzarich lachzor v'lechel afikomen ba'aseba. Certainly a seba is a requirement. Im kein mavur shelechatchila tzarich lachzor v'lechel afikomen. Certainly you would have to eat the afikomen over again lechatchila. Ve'ein iser ba'achila shtei pamim afikomen. Certainly from Taf Ayin Zayin, it comes out that there's no prohibition, there's no iser against eating afikomen twice. So he brings down over here very beautifully from the Igros Moshe. Tiritz b'shalos etshuvas Igros Moshe, the Reshivas Atzal in the Igros answers this question. Shekan medubar ba'ofen shekvar berach berachas hamazayin. Over here, the Chavetz Chaim is talking about a case where you were already benched. You ate the afikomen, and now you benched. And now you realize, I ate the afikomen without haseba. Now there would be an iser in eating the afikomen over again. Because now if you want to eat the afikomen over again, what do you have to do? You have to go wash again. You have to make another brachas hamaitzi. Now it's a bracha she'ein tzricha. Bracha she'ein tzricha is an iser. So that's why the Mishnah Berurah says over here that there's an iser in eating the afikomen over again, because he's talking about here when you were already benched. But if you did not yet bench, then of course you should eat a second afikomen. What's the problem? You can eat as much matzah as you want. When you eat the afikomen, you're not mechuyev to measure out precisely one kazayas and don't eat any extra because you're not allowed to eat two afikomens. You ate the avikomen. Now you realize, I didn't eat it by Seder. Take another piece of matzah, eat another kazayis. No problem. It's only a problem if you already benched. Okay. Now let's continue in the Shulchan Aruch. So the last 4 words of Siv Zayin, the bottom of the page on Pei Amud Beis. Says the Mishnah Berurah, says the Ramah in the last 2 words on the page. Ulechatchila Yosef kol ha'seuda. Says the Ramah, this concept of haseba, this mitzvah of haseba, of eating while reclining, we think of it in terms of when we're drinking the kosos, when we're eating the matzah shal mitzvah. Says the Ramah, lechatchila Yosef kol ha'seuda. The whole Suda, the whole Shulchan Aruch, you should be sitting, reclining like a melech, and like we said yesterday, with pillows and cushions and on a couch, as much haseba as you can make. You should be sitting, reclining on your left side like a rich fellow who has all the time and comfort in the world, luxuriously. You should eat your whole Suda that way, l'chatchila. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Ois Cotton Chav Gimel on Pei Aleph Amud Aleph. Kol ha'seuda, the entire Suda should be eaten by haseba. Ba'achilasai ubishtiyasai, while you're eating and while you're drinking. Ubedieved yotza b'shas achilas kezayis matzah v'arba kosos. Bedieved, you're yotza. If you went ahead and when you ate your kezayis of matzah, and when you drank your 4 kosos, and when you ate the afikomen as well, so if you did those by haseba, bedieved, you're yotza. But l'chatchila, the Ramah says you should eat the whole Suda by haseba. Ulegabe shamish, when it comes to a shamish, like a butler or a waiter, came in shehutarid, since he's jumping up and down by the Suda, bringing everybody their food, dayanin le k'di'eved legabe kol adam. For him, it would be a b'di'eved to require him to do haseba for the whole Suda, because he's jumping up and down. He can't do haseba. So that's considered b'di'eved. He doesn't have to do haseba for the entire Suda. Now let's continue on Pei Aleph Amud Aleph in the Mechaber. Let's go to Sif Ches. Tzarich lishtais arba kosos al haseder. When you want to be mekayim the mitzvah of dalet kosos, do not think that you could just pour a cup of wine, make hagafen, drink it. 1 kos down, fill up a 2nd kos, hagafen, drink it. Kos 2 down, 3rd kos, hagafen, drink. No, you have to drink them al haseder. What does al haseder mean? Says the Mishnah Berurah Katan Chav Dalet. Al haseder pirush sheyoymar hahagada beintayim. You have to drink the kosos al haseder. The Seder night is called the Seder night. There's an order, there's an organization to the way that it's done. The first kos is on Kiddush. The 2nd kos is on the Haggadah and on Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim, and we make the bracha of Gal Yisrael. That's the 2nd kos. The 3rd kos is on benching. The 4th kos is on Hallel. So you have to drink the kosos al haseder. They have to be linked to their appropriate place and mitzvah in the Haggadah. Continues the Shulchan Aruch. Let's say you just drank 4 kosos one after the other, not on the Haggadah, lo yotza. You weren't yotza the mitzvah. Says the Mishnah Berurah Katan Chafei, if you just drank 1 kos after the other, the culture came certainly in shefachan kulan b'kos echad. Let's say you took 1 big tankard and you filled up 1 big tankard of wine, so you have plenty of shiurim. The shear is not the problem. We got a lot of revius in there, but you filled up a big tankard, ushasan, and now you do glug 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 1 kos, glug 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 2 kos, glug 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 3 kos. No, lo yotza, you're not yotza. The Pri Megadim says, Shafilu hifsik beintayim. Even if you would take this big tankard and you would go glug 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 glug, say the Haggadah, glug 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 glug, say the Haggadah, lo nami lo yotza. The arba kosos be'inon. You need 4 individual cups. Kos katan chavav lo yotza. You drink 1 kos after the other, lo al haseder, you're not yotza. V'tzarich lachzar v'lishtais oid shalish kosos al haseder. If you drank 4 kosos in a row, so you were yotza the 1st kos, but the other 3 kosos you aren't yotza, so you got to drink another 3 kosos al haseder on the Haggadah. V'nira and the Chavetz Chaim says it appears that tzarich levarich ata al kol kos v'kos, and you would have to make a bracha on each one of those next 3 kosos. V'loy hevi k'moisef ala kosos, And there's no problem over here of nireh k'moisef al hakosos. Why? Kevin delayatza b'rishona. Because the first one that you drank, where you guzzled and you tried to knock all 4 kosos in a row, you weren't yaitz anything. You were yaitz to the first kos, but the rest of that stuff, you weren't yaitz anything. And this halach is not only if you tried to work your way through all 4 kosos, shalai kaseder. Let's say you made kiddush and you drank the first kos. Then you said the Haggadah and you drank the second kos. Then you had Shulchan Aruch and you benched and you drank the third kos. So 3 kosos you drank ala Seder. And now right after the third kos you're tired, you're ready to go to sleep. So you drink the third kos on benching and you say, I don't have koyach for halal. You make a hagafen and you drink another kos right away. You're not yotza. Gamken lo yotza. To hakuluhu kaseder be'inon. All of the kosos have to be ala Seder. So if you drank the 4th kos right after the 3rd kos, you're not yotza. You got to say halal and then make a bracha and drink another 4th kos. Now we go to Sif Tes in the Shulchan Aruch. Shir hakos. What's the proper measurement of wine that you need to be yotza the mitzvah of Dalet kosos? Revius. You need a revius halug, a quarter of a lug, which according to Rav David Feinstein Shlita, in the context of the Dalet kosos, I believe he rules it's approximately 3.3 ounces. So for Kiddush on Friday night, if the Seder falls out on Friday night and you have Shabbos Kiddush in the mix over there, which is a daraisa, he's makbid on a larger share, I think 4.2 ounces. You could check Reb David's Haggadah. I believe I have it here in front of me. The truth is, I think I'm saying the right numbers. 1 second. For Friday night, he wants 4.42, almost 4.5 ounces. So the Dalet kosos is 3.3. Okay, so the proper measurement is a revius. Your kos has to hold a revius of wine. Shir hakos revius la'achar sheyim zigenu. After it's been diluted, like the Mishnah will explain in the old days when the wine was very, very strong, they had to dilute their wine. So we don't need a revius of undiluted wine and then dilute it. No, we need a revius of diluted wine. If you want to dilute the wine, if you plan on diluting the wine, let's go to the Mishnah Berurah's Katan Chav Zayin. Revius. V'shiyurai, as far as what the measurement of revius is, ayin le'el b'siman reish, ayin aleph, sif katan samches. He sends you back to siman reish, ayin aleph, where we discussed the halachas of Shabbos Kiddush, the Mishnah Berurah Sham. Ais katan chav ches, we need a revius la'achar sheyim zigenu, after the wine has been diluted. Hainu d'loi be'inan revius yayin chai. We don't need a revius of undiluted wine. El revius b'yachad im hamayim shemozig boy. We need a revius after the wine is diluted. In the olden days, their wine was very strong. They would dilute their wine 3 parts water to 1 part wine. Nowadays, where our wine is weak, as far as how much you can get away with diluting wine, and it should still be considered wine. The Ramah said that the meziga, diluting the wine, is optional. Says the Mishnah Berurah, what the Ramah wants to say is, nowadays, when our wine is weak, there's no obligation. We do not have to dilute our wine. Our wine is already considered yayin mazuk. It's weak enough, we don't have to dilute it. In the olden days, it wasn't optional. You needed meziga, you needed dilution, because before dilution, the wine was not considered drinkable. Vedan, you should know, even if you drink very strong wine, you still need a full revius. The Chazal did not make various measurements depending on the strength of wine. The share that you need for the Dalet kosos is a revius. Continues the Shulchan Aruch. Now, we established that the share of the kos, the size of the kos is, it has to hold a revius. That's the minimum size. How much do you have to drink? Says the Shulchan Aruch, by me it's on the 3rd line, the yishtek kulai ayrubai. And you have to drink either the whole kos or the majority of the kos. Now first, realize we're talking about here a kos that holds precisely a revius. So let's say you have a kos that, according to the numbers I gave you, it holds precisely 3.3 ounces. How much of that kais do you have to drink? Says the Shulchan Aruch, either the whole kais or the majority of the kais. What's this either or? Says the Mishnah Berurah and Ice Cotton Lamed, Kulai Rubai. I know what this means is Kulai lechatchila. Lechatchila, if you have a kais that holds precisely a revius, lechatchila, you should drink the whole revius. Rubai b'di'evet. But b'di'evet, if you drank roiv of the revius, that's enough. Over Medina shahayayin b'yoiker, if you live in an area where wine is very expensive, I feel lechatchila sagi b'rubai. Even lechatchila, it's enough to drink roiv kais, the majority of the kais, which means, since we're talking about a kais that holds precisely a revius, that you drank the roiv of a revius. However, kais revius yishtakulai. The fourth kais, you should make sure to drink the entire kais. Again, if your kais is precisely the size of the revius. As far as if you have a larger kais, which I believe most of us, our kaises are bigger than a revius, we're going to get to that halacha shortly. Right now, we're discussing a kais that's precisely a revius. So the Mechaber said, how much do you have to drink? Lechatchila, the whole kais, the whole revius. B'di'evet, roiv of the revius. If wine is very expensive, that's considered a b'di'evet. Drink only a roiv revius. But the fourth kais, you should drink the whole kais. Why? Because on the fourth kais, you got to make an alagefen. On the first three kaisos, you don't make an alagefen. Ooh, what's the bracha achrayna on the first three kaisos? Not benching. The bracha achrayna on the first three kaisos is the alagefen that you make at the end of the Seder. So, but the fourth kais, you got to drink the whole kais because you're going to make an alagefen. And there's one shita that holds that in order to make alagefen, you have to drink a full revius. And it's not enough to drink a roiv revius. So if your kais is precisely a revius, make sure you drink the whole kais for the fourth kais. Now the Mishnah Berurah says, there were people who had fruma waiters by their Seder, and if the waiter would drink, the waiter had the Seder together with you, and if the waiter would drink a lot of wine, the head of the household would get angry at the waiters. Says the Mishnah Berurah, V'asidin li teinas hadin. These homeowners who are being tough and being cheap on the waiters and watching how much wine they're drinking, they're going to give din v'cheshbon lachamei v'esrim when they get upstairs. Shemach shilon, because they are making the waiters stumble. Umaynon min mitzvah, and they're preventing them from fulfilling the mitzvah properly because they're afraid to drink enough wine to be yotze the mitzvah. Now let's continue the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch says, V'im yesh by harbe revi'iyos. Let's say, like most of us, your kais holds more than a revius, or maybe it even holds multiple revius. Maybe you have an 8-ounce kais that holds more than 2 revius. So if you have multiple revius in a kais, how much do you have to drink? Says the Shulchan Aruch, Shaisin mimenu kol kach b'nei. Oh, first he says an interesting halacha. If you have a kais that holds many revius in, Shaisin mimenu kol kach b'nei adam kiminyan revius shabbat. Guess what? Multiple people could be yotze with one kais, the Shulchan Aruch says. You have a kais that holds 3 revius. Well, make a bari priagafen. I'll drink a roiv revius or an entire revius. Pass it to the next guy. He'll drink a roiv revius or a whole revius. Pass it to the third guy. He'll drink a roiv revius or a whole revius. And 3 of us will mekayim the mitzvah of one of the daled kaisos. That's what the Shulchan Aruch says. The Yeshayimrim, however, he says others hold. He brings this down from the Ramban. Shetzarich lishtais roiv hakais afilu machzik kama reviyos. So this is the halacha that's negay to us the most, which is the Shulchan Aruch brings down from the Ramban. The Ramban holds that if you have a kais that holds more than a revius, you should drink roiv of the kais, not just a roiv revius, or even not just one revius. If you have a kais that holds 4 reviusin, you should drink more than 2 revius, because the Ramban wants you to drink roiv kais. And the Ramah says in Peyalef Amid Beis, v'tzarich lishtais hashir shaloi behefsek gadol meintayim. And when you drink the minimum share of the wine to be yotze the mitzvah of dalet kaisais, you should make sure that you shouldn't drink it very slow. There shouldn't be a big hefsek. There shouldn't be the time of more than kedei achilas pras between when you started drinking and when you finished drinking, because then it's not considered one continuous drinking, and then you are not mekayim the mitzvah. Says the Mishnah Berurah in Sif Cotton Lamed Aleph, Shoisin mimenu. If you have a kais that holds multiple reviusin, then theoretically more than one person could be yotze the mitzvah with that kais. Miloshon zeh mashma, the Chofetz Chaim says that from the Mechaber's language it is implied that this would be lechatchila, that you have this big kais and multiple people to drink from it to be mekayim the mitzvah. Even though, how does that work? You need a full kais. Now, if I'm the first guy that drank from the kais, I had a full kais, but the second guy didn't. The gam shalayeh pogum. There's also a din of kais pogum, which is once I drank from it, now it's pogum. Now it's, so to speak, harmed. It's not considered a kais that's roy for mitzvah anymore. So how does the second guy become the mitzvah? Halcha over here, the Chofetz Chaim says, Kemen de laharishain hayah kais maleh. Since by the first person it was full, kulu asyin mikayach harishain. Everybody follows the first guy, and it's considered a kais maleh, and it's considered not pogum. Okay. The Efsher Oida Mechaber Iker Dina Asalashminan could be that the Shulchan Aruch is telling me the strict halacha, the Shneim Yotzin B'Kais Echad, that according to the strict halacha, multiple people could be Yotza, but it's certainly not Lechatchila. Ois Kat Lamed Beis Kiminyan Revi Yoshabai, as many people could be Yotza with that kais as many Revius as there are. Ubedievet Sagef Yilohi Lechalechad Rak Rav Revius. Each person doesn't need a Revius, each person needs a Rav Revius. Lamed Gimel. Here we have the Ramban that says that the Ramban wants you to drink roiv kais. So even if you have a 20-ounce kais, according to the Ramban, you have to drink roiv kais. Even though, let's say, the halacha by Kiddush on Shabbos is that you never have to drink more than a roiv revius to be yotze Kiddush, which is a mole lugma. So why over here do we suddenly have this din of roiv kais? What's that based on? We go by an amount of wine. The amount of wine you need to be considered a chashav amount, a chashav drink to be yotze the mitzvah is a roiv revius. So why does the Ramban come over here by Dalet Kaisos and say you need roiv kais, the majority of the kais, even if it's a huge kais? Hachal inyan kaisos chamer tvei. By the Dalet Kaisos, it's more stringent. The beinan dafka roiv kais ve'emlav lo yotze. You need a roiv kais, and if not, you're not yotze. I'm not going to read it inside, but it's a beautiful Dirshu footnote, number 35, that brings down a Riz. The Riz says that the din of Dalet Kaisos is different. The din of Dalet Kaisos is linked to a kais. Dalet Kaisos, 4 cups. In order to be yotze drinking a kais, you have to drink the majority of the kais, because rubai kikulai. The din of Kiddush on Shabbos is not linked to a kais. It's a din of Kiddush al hayayin. You have to mention Shabbos al hayayin, on wine. So you need a chashav, a drink of wine. That's a roiv revius. So for Kiddush, you only need a roiv revius. But for Dalet Kaisos, you need roiv hakais. Uladina, as far as Allah Maisa, Kaimalon Kedeh Rishayna. We really paskin like the first opinion that you only need a roiv revius. However, it says the Chofetz Chaim, if you don't want to drink a lot of wine, lo yikach kais gadol, don't have yourself a large kais, rak kais shemaxik revius, get a kais that holds a revius, kedei lachish l'deyazu, so that you should be able to take care of the Ramban, and you should be yotze that if you're going to drink a roiv revius, it'll also be roiv kais. So mi'ikar adin, the best thing would be whatever kais you have, the best thing is drink the roiv kais. You can't do it, you can't do it. Try to get a smaller kais, and that way you'll drink roiv revius, so you won't have a problem. Even though we do have another Mishnah Berurah here, it's cut in Lamed Daled on the next page. It's already a little bit long, and we did cover about a page and a half. So I'm going to stop over here. We'll pick up tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem, with Ice Cut and Lamed Daled. Thank you so much for joining me for this Torah learning. The schus of Limud HaTorah should stand Ganzen Yikal Yisrael in good stead. The Rebbeinu Shalom should shik Yeshuas and Refuas to those who need it. The Rebbeinu Shalom should protect everybody. Nobody else should get ill. And whoever needs Parnasa, the Rebbeinu Shalom should send them Parnasa. Everybody should have everything wonderful. And the Rebbeinu Shalom should send B.S. Goyal Tzedek. Be well.